Welcome to Discourse Politics, your place for political and social commentary. Today we have a bombshell of a video. I cannot believe actually what I'm seeing in this video because it is by far the best evidence we have to date of some sort of election shenanigans that amount to, in my opinion, election fraud, voter fraud. At the very least, these votes should be thrown out. So join me by the fire and settle in because let's get into this story. So what you are about to see is testimony in front of the Georgia Senate Judiciary Committee by a lawyer named Jackie Pick. She testified in front of the committee with video evidence of what can only be described as illegal practices of vote counting after everyone was told to go home, including the legally required poll watchers to verify the validity of the ballots. The video we are about to watch takes place in Fulton County, specifically inside the State Farm Arena, where they were counting all Fulton County absentee ballots and military absentee ballots as well. So here is her testimony.
We have the tape from first thing in the morning all the way past the close of the polls. So we're at about 10 o'clock. And what you'll notice is that the workers are present, working, and you have, back in that corner I pointed out to you, the press and the Republican observers.
So the first thing I want to point out here is that the observers are really far away from actually being able to observe anything. However, this is minor compared to what we're going to see as she continues talking.
So according to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press, but 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating, and they will continue counting unobserved, unsupervised, not in public view as your statute requires.
So I just want to point out, this is that time period where there was supposedly a water leak, I believe, in Fulton County. They had to stop counting. There was no water leak. They just told people to go home. They were done counting for the night, right? And this happened in almost all swing states. So they did the same thing around midnight in Wisconsin, around 1 or 2 a.m. in Michigan, around 10 p.m. in certain parts of Pennsylvania and in Arizona. They stopped counting. And it was strange because I've never seen anything like that in my life. I had this sneaking suspicion that something strange was going on, but nonetheless, they stopped counting. So here is video evidence of what happened in this particular place when they stopped counting. And this is kind of the sneaking suspicion that this is what happened in most places when they stopped counting, because even though they said they stopped counting, the next morning they posted a lot of ballots that were counted overnight. And then the next morning, the media gaslighted all of us and said they never stopped counting, when we all clearly remember them saying we're done counting for the night. Not to mention that it is illegal to count votes without poll watchers there. That is a law in almost every state that I'm aware of. There has to be a poll. There has to be someone there watching the polls from either party so that there's no shenanigans going on. So let's see what they do once everybody leaves.
Until about 1 in the morning. The reason we know this is because when our Republican observers were forced to leave, they went to the Central Tabulation Center. And they got word from a news crew that, in fact, counting had continued. They have information that not everybody left according to plan, and some people stayed behind. So this shocked them. So they returned back to State Farm Arena at about 1 o'clock in the morning, where they confirmed that, in fact, people had just left State Farm Arena in contravention of what they had been told by the supervisors who are running this operation. So, okay, we're still at about 10 o'clock. Can you take us to about 10:25? So here you see it's all cleared out. We just went from 10:25 to 10:37. The place is a ghost town. This is where the people were vacated and told, go home, come back at 8:30. We will now stop working and stop counting. But notice who stays behind. You have 4 people, consistent with our affidavits, who stayed behind. And so you'll see the lady in purple. You'll see 2 women in yellow in the back, which is where the scanners are there at the top right frame. And then the lady with the blonde braids also, who told everyone to leave. Those are the 4 people who will stay behind. So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena, along with the Fox News crew. accepting those 4 people. The witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots. Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go.
And legend has it that if you rub that table just right, ballot boxes will keep coming out.
So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses?
Okay. So 4 people are counting some ballots that have, some questionable background. How many ballots could it really be, and would it really change the election?
These machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through.
And just to remind everybody, the current margin in Georgia is 12,670 votes.
And so if we were to sit here for the next 2 hours, what we would see is that this operation just goes on and on and on. They're scanning until about 12:55 in the morning. So we kept the video running. And, we can show you the people who gave us the affidavits reappearing at that time, just as they said, around 1 a.m. to find out, are they in fact counting after they told us they would stop working or not?
So if you liked that, you're going to love this next part. There is a senator that is about to ask the lawyer some questions. So the senator is about to ask this lawyer who just presented everything that we saw. I cut up some of it, but basically the senator saw what we just saw. And this is her question.
Senator Parent.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. We heard from the Secretary of State's office earlier, just a couple hours ago, that they've investigated this repeatedly, that they had a monitor on site the entire time. And frankly, this has been debunked for weeks by our Secretary of State's office.
I'm sick and tired of people who use the word debunked. I swear I need to use the Inigo Montoya meme that's like, you say that word, but I don't think it means what you think it means. Because at the end of the day, these people say debunked and they just watched this video, right? They just saw it. We all just saw this video and they said, that has been debunked. What the hell does debunked mean in this example? It doesn't make any sense to say that this has been debunked. It would be strange at the least, right? And so I don't know what the hell she means when she says it's been debunked. I'm literally at a loss for words. It's literally a dumb phrase. Can we have an IQ test before someone becomes a politician? Is that a thing? I mean, I don't know. I wish it were a thing.
I doubt he's seen the video.
Evidence, then I think the courts will probably be able to handle this once you present your evidence to them. As I'm aware, there have been about 40 lawsuits dismissed already. And according to the law of the state of Georgia, we do not have the power to submit alternate electors. The provision in the law is quite clear at 21-501F.
Is there a question?
Senator,
Look at the utter arrogance. She crosses her arms like, oh, look at my point. Look at that. That like I owned you. The breadth and depth of the difference between what she thinks she's saying and what she actually said and whether or not that made sense is completely on opposite polar spectrums. I cannot for the life of me figure out why she's so content with herself. Like, oh, I just made a good point. No, you didn't. It was a dumb point. It was a bad point. Just look at her body language as this continues.
Senator, we'll ask questions. We'll have a time for statements at the conclusion. If we
Yeah, my question is, since this has been debunked repeatedly, what evidence can you give to us that counters what our elections officials have presented us with only an hour ago?
You just saw it.
Holy God. If this were my politician, I think I'd move. I think I would be compelled to move out of this district. You are being represented by somebody who does not have the equipment to be a good senator.
Your officials need to watch the video.
What about the fact that they say that they had a monitor there the entire time?
I can't speak for them.
Well, thank you.
They did not have the video.
They said they had a monitor the whole time. Be quiet.
You're
Okay.
looking at the room.
There's no Secretary of State.
Then maybe we should invite them back in.
all right. Well,
And she accidentally made a good point. She accidentally made a good point there. They should bring in the Secretary of State's office again and ask them, if you had a monitor in this room, where were they? Where were they? If you can debunk this video, then tell us where they were. But the problem is you can't, because when the Republican watchers left, it became an illegal vote count. The moment the Republican watchers stepped out of that room, it became an illegal vote count. Even if those were legitimate ballots and you could show me the people that turned those ballots in and they could swear that they turned those ballots in, the moment that you counted those ballots without Republican watchers in the room, those ballots are invalid. Those ballots are invalid. Those ballots are invalid. Thank you for watching. Please share this on your social medias and with all your friends and family. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next video.